Hi everyone, this is Neha Grover. Today we'll discuss how to create derived roles. First of all, I'll give you a brief introduction to what roles are, and then type of roles, then steps to create derived roles, and then we'll have discussion after that. So what a role is. So in SAP definition, roles are defined as collection of certain activities used in different business scenarios. So when a person or a user works in SAP system, he needs authorization to access the T codes or reports or web-based links to perform his duties. So we put all these T codes and authorization values in a role, and then we give access to him to perform his duties. So to complete these activities, user need access to different SAP transactions like T codes, reports, or web-based applications in SAP system. So we can say that roles contain all the items like T codes or reports or link which are needed by an individual in a particular position to perform his duties. So there are three different types of roles: single roles, composite roles, and derived roles. So single role is what we just discussed right now, like any role which has duties, links, or T codes in it, and we authorize to a particular user to perform his duties, or we restrict him to not to see some T codes or to protect the business data from there. So what a composite role is. So when sometimes a user need more roles, like 2 roles or 3 roles to perform his duty. So we make a container of it, and then we put different roles, different single roles in that container, and that role is called a composite role. So derived roles. The main topic of today is derived roles. So derived roles refer to the roles which already exist. We create a reference role, and then we derive number of roles from that reference roles. It has same T codes, authorization, object values, but it differs from organization level. Like the plant, the company code, or the sales organization can be different, or it has to be different. So we also call them child roles as well, and the reference role we call the parent role too. So in a derived role, you can maintain a way of maintaining roles that do not differ in their functionality. They have identical menus and identical transactions, but have different characteristics with regard to organization levels. So roles, there are 2 different types, single and composite, and then we derive a parent role or reference role. We create reference role from it. Actually, reference role itself is a single role, but we just use it to create many different roles from it. So a derived role here, we also call it child role. It inherits all the values or T codes from the reference role, but it just differs on organization level. So here we can see that we created a reference role, and there are a different organizational structure. We can derive the roles for all the 3 different organizations. Here you can see this is first derived role from reference role. Here the plant is different, the company code is different. Here the plant is number 1, here plant is number 1, but company code is 002. Here its company code is 000. And derived role, this one, the plant is number 3, here plant is different, and company code is same, 0001. So business area can also be different. So we got the idea, so what the derived role is. So we move how we create a derived role. So first of all, we go to PFCG for creating roles. It's just as same like we create a single role. For that, we can we just follow the same process to create a single role. Here we have created a single role for sales order processing. We have created this role globally, which allows the creation of sales order for all companies and all sales organizations. This is here we put the description. This is the parent role with transaction BA01, BA02 and BA03. Since it is a global role, it has access to all organization levels. We have created a derived role or a child role which is inherited from reference role. The process is same. You just create a single role and then in the description tab you write this is a derived role for global. We just created in a previous step global role. So it has access to all the sales, all the same transaction and activity values, but restricted to US only. So this role we can just use for US companies. So for that, how we make it different from its reference role? For that we have to go to description tab, and here under the transaction inheritance we select the reference role we just created. In this way, all the values will come up on its own in the menu. Here you can see we just give the T codes in the global role or the reference role, BA01, BA02, BA03. So all the role menu is already copied into this role. Yeah, and here you cannot change the menu, or you cannot make the change in T codes. So here when you go to authorizations, you can see back in reference role we accepted everything. Here you can change the company code, controlling area, division, sales organization and distribution channel. You have to put US in here. We have selected all here, but in real scenario you have to put US here and then controlling area, division and so on. And then you assign this, and then you generate this role, and then you assign to your user. Here my user is test43 and I have assigned him this role. And after that you create your user, or you have already created that, you go and log on to the screen and you can see the user will just see his menu we have just assigned him. These are all the transactions BA01, BA02 and BA03, and in the quotations it's BA21 and so on. He will just have access to these transactions only, but we created a reference role and then we derived this role for Tom Cruise, and he has access to just these transactions and he can process all those things. Thank you. So now I'm going to show you how to create a derived role from reference role in the SAP system, like we just saw in my presentation. We have to go to PFCG in SAP Easy Access. First we will create a reference role, just same as we create a single role. For that we have to put the name for the reference role, that is I'm going to put my Z : sales. We are going to create a role for sales representative, sales _ rep _ reference for reference role, and then I'm going to put my 43, my user, and then I'll hit single role. Already exists, it's showing me, so I have to change a little bit. Single role, and then here I will give description, just a short description. Reference role for sales representative company wide, and then you can give here the long text or the description in little bit in detail. This is reference role for sales representative company wide, and it has two codes. It has different save this first. Then I will jump to menu. There are different ways to create the menu, like you can use it SAP reference templates, you can use you can search locally, and then there is a different type of roles you can create from scratch. So here I'm going to use scratch. So I will create the rules from scratch and put all the T codes which I need here in my role menu. So first I will create a folder under my role menu, and I will name it Sales Activities. And I need one more folder for different T codes. So I will name it Quotations. And now I will put my T codes in my sales activities. So I will go to transactions, and I need T codes VA21 and then VA22 and then VA23. And when you press enter, it will show the long text. VA21 is for create quotation, VA22 for change quotation, and VA23 for display. Then you go to assign transactions. It takes a little bit of time. So my T codes are here under quotation folder. Now I will highlight my another folder, sales activities, and go to transactions. And I need here my different T codes, VA11, VA12, and VA13. And these are for create, change, and display inquiry. And I will assign transactions. Here my role menu is ready. So I will just save it and then go to authorizations. Here I go to change authorization data. I don't need to maintain any of company code or controlling area here because it's a reference role here. So I will just skip this step and generate the role here. It will ask me if the fields are not maintained. Still I need to generate it because the organization level and all those fields will be generated in derived role, will be maintained in derived roles. So I'll here step back a little bit and save. So my reference role is ready now. I have to come back to my PDFCG initial screen. Now I will create my derived role from here. For that, I have to put a name for that. So Z : sales _ rep representative, and then this is a derived role for, so DV for derived role, and I'm going to create it for New York. So NY. I will give my user name. I have to go to hit again single role because it's also a single role. So here we have to put the short description, derived roles for sales rep in New York area. Here we are going to give little detailed description. This says a derived role from reference role for sales representative. Now, under as we all know, this is a derived role, so we go to transaction inheritance, and that makes all the difference first. So why it is derived role? So we will put the reference role here, I have to search for my reference role I just created. Here we just created the reference role. We'll select this one and it will ask you really want to enter the specified role, and hit yes and then save. Here you can see my menu is already green. That means it has inherited all the key codes we just assigned to them. Here you can see my quotation I just created in the reference role. Here my quotation folder, and it has all the transactions in it, and this one is my sales folder and it has all the transactions. So we just save it, and now you go to authorizations. Here now you maintain all the fields for different company codes. So we are going to use company code 3000 for US, and then controlling area we are going to use it for New York, but here I have to select North America for that.
Oh, stop. Here. CA01.
Yeah, this one, because it's not there in the system yet. So division, you can choose for, let's say, for motorcycles, and then sales organization. You have to select from the drop down menu. You can see USA, Philadelphia here, but in actual we are doing for New York, so just for training purpose we can see that. So distribution channel, we can pick direct sales and internet sales, and we save all these values. So here we just give them the full authorization for the training purpose, but in actual you can maintain all those authorization values for all those authorization objects. So I have given them full authorizations here. So I go to generate my role, and say ask me, and yes. So my role is already generated. So you can see the traffic light is green. That means everything is on the line and it's good. Now, so here you can see we have already derived a role from my reference role which is created, and all my transactions menu is my menu traffic light is green, my authorization is green. Now we can assign them, we can run an alpha test for that and assign them to my user, and for that we have to create a user in SU01, and then we will see if the transactions are there or not, and then we will run our alpha test. We're going to change our head. Now we will act as a SAP administrator, and we'll go and create a user. For that we go to new session and execute SU01 to create a user. Here you put the username, whatever you want to give to your user. I'm going to give my username test-43 and going to create it. The system will ask me old SAP Office data font for this username, because I have already created this user once, and I will hit say yes. Just copy this and it will give me all the details, first name, last name, and department, in which department my user works. So I will just have to give them the password. So all the fields are already maintained, so I just give them a new password. I'm going to give the password here, and I will just save it. So my user is created. So I will go back to my PFCG screen and go to user tab. Now I can assign my user here test-43, and when I will hit enter, it will the system will take my username and from when it is valid from. And now I will run my user comparison here. Just hit the user comparison and click on complete comparison. So it will say me save the role first, and we'll save, and it's done. So my role is already now assigned to my user. So what we can do now is we are going to run the alpha test. For that, go to SAP logon, and we log on as a different user for test 43 we just created. Test 43, and I'm gonna give my password here. So system will ask me for a new password. So this is my SAP Easy Access for my user Tom Cruise, and yeah, this is my quotations and sale activities. All my T codes are here, and he can in the quotations he can create quotations, change and display them, and in the sales activities he can create sales activities, change sales activities, and display sales activities, like we call here a display inquiry. So that's how to create a derived role from a reference role. Hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you so much.